Alright, Abzan Blade here. So Abzan, for those newer to Magic, refers to the 3-color combination of white, black, and green. In this case, this deck is essentially the green-black rock deck that you'll find on my website that we've played a bunch of in the past, that we splashed the Stoneforge Mystic package into here. Light and Shadow, Batterskull. We're also playing Path to Exile over Fatal Push. This is something people like to ask about a lot. Path to Exile is a much better removal spell than Fatal Push. I get that there's a little bit of downside of giving your opponent a land, but like, we're playing trophies anyways, and we're playing Field of Runes, so like, we're gonna be using up our opponent's basics. One of the ways these fair decks lose is by having their answers not line up well into what their opponents are doing. So just play the Path to Exiles so your cards are more flexible. I've also got a couple copies of Kaya's Guile here, which it creates a 1/1 which can carry a sword, which is nice. And the fact that the graveyard decks are going to be a little bit slower now means that Kaya's Guile exiling their graveyard for 3 mana is a little bit more meaningful disruption. So between Scavenging Ooze, Kaya's Guile, and Ashiok, this deck actually still has a variety of cards that are like reasonable in the graveyard matchups, if those decks are still going to be floating around, which I think they are. I would not be surprised if Dredge puts up some results this weekend. This is my configuration of Abzan Blade. So we had a few donations for me to put together some of my preferred Stoneforge Mystic decks, and this is one of the ones that I put together. Yeah, there's no Lingering Souls here. There's no Siege Rhino. We've already got enough slow, clunky cards in our deck. Our deck's got a lot of slow, clunky ones already. Don't need more. I've been working this week and didn't resub, and I saw a commercial. Gross. Well, thanks for the 11 months, Bulgarian. I appreciate you re-upping that. Welcome back. I just assumed you built it because there's no Dark Confidants. Yep, that's probably a good assumption. Yeah, this hand is... It's actually a little awkward. I think I'm fetching Godless Shrine on one here. The fact that there's a Light and Shadow in the opener might mean I'm supposed to mulligan. Yeah, that's I feel like that's where it's at, Bob. Hand sucks. Keep is like a very accurate measurement of like what I feel looking at this hand. Like his hand's not good, but I'm gonna keep it because like it has a reasonable series of draws to make it reasonable. To be fair, Burgle, we have a lot of non-Stoneforge grindy elements. I feel like we can keep up with a K-Command deck. What are my thoughts on Renin 6? I think Renin 6 is absurd in the matches where it's removal. And in the matches where Renin 6 isn't meaningful removal, it's aggressively mediocre. Could be Wurza, could be Shadow. I feel like Serum Visions is more indicative of Shadow. Yeah. It's weird to see Shadow playing Bubble still. Feel like that's a card they've shied away from. Immediately get a matchup where Path on average is better than Fatal Push. Isn't Shadow terrible against Stoneforge Mystic decks? Why do you think Shadow is terrible against Stoneforge Mystic decks? Can you elaborate? It's not great against Path Tribal, that's true. The fact that we're on 4 trophy, 4 path is definitely a leg up for us here. The fact that I'm on Last Hope instead of Veil, though, is bad for us. Last Hope is not particularly good here. Huh? I think I'm actually going to Thoughtseize and put the sword in this turn. They're not playing the other fish for a hot second, right? So I'm just going to keep them out of my hand. I'm pretty sure if you put the sword on your thing, they can't win. Yeah, I think so. They need like K command ASAP, right? I guess that's not true. They have a Thought Scour, right? Maybe I'm supposed to just take their fish here. Yeah, because of the Thought Scour, I messed up. I'm supposed to just take their fish. Yikes. Super punished. Definitely should have taken the fish. Now I have 3 paths, Karnfather. Did I say 4? I thought I said a bunch of paths. Pretty sure I do this and just try and kill them in 2, right? Don't draw Bolt or K command. Please and thank you. Go. This is my first draft of Abzan Stoneblade. Oh, that's true. Snapcaster Mage and Battle Rage also get us. That's very fair. I don't know. I think it's right to attack here. If we leave it back on defense, we're just dying slowly. I think attempting to kill them is probably ideal. That's not the removal spell I wanted for Christmas. I definitely messed up my Thoughtseize, though. If I had resolved my Thoughtseize correctly, I probably would have won this, guaranteed. Are you dead yet? Or is there a Snapcaster Mage in my future? Nah, long pauses on Moto don't mean they're necessarily dead. It could mean their computer's just running slowly because Moto's a dog. Welcome to Magic Online. Enjoy your stay. Yeah, definitely would have been in a decent spot there if we would have taken the other Gurmag Angler. Yeah, Magic's an incredibly high variance game. Cards like Inquisition and Thoughtseize really are just like solid reminders of how incredibly high variance Modern is, or Magic is as a whole. I just want second Batterskull here. Rest of this seems fine. Push is fine. Pulse is fine. I don't know, Bob. With the fact that they drew K command means that I'm probably not even guaranteed to be ahead there. I think if we would have Thoughtseize the other fish, we'd have beaten Bolt. But I think K command probably means we were dead regardless. Yeah, I agree, Burgle. We've got a lot of good tools here. We'd be up 10 life. Not really. We'd be up 5. They only got 1 attack in with the second Gurmag Angler. The fact that we have a bunch of artifacts in our deck actually makes our Tarmogoyfs a lot better in this matchup. Because it means our Tarmogoyfs are regularly going to be bigger than Gurmag Anglers, which is ideal. I think it's right to play a tap land on one here. My hand's like fairly redundant if they want to Thoughtseize me. Like if they take my discard spell, I'll just play Goyf. If they don't, we'll like fetch Overgrown Tomb, Inquisition them like we planned. That Goyf's probably an okay draw after they took the first one. Alright, so they're going to go fishing next turn. I feel like I would have just slammed Goyf there. Nah, I don't think so. I have to take 3 life instead of 2 to do that, because I want to fetch an Overgrown Tomb. The Goyf's not going to be bigger than the Gurmag Angler anytime soon. So I want to try and break up what they have going on. Hey, AJ, thank you for the 12 months of support. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Looking for, like, lands and removal spells here. They have Thoughtseize, Thought Scour, 3 cards I don't know. We're gonna like Inquisition plus Thoughtseize my 2 creatures here. Leave us with nothing. I'm playing Liliana the Last Hope because I think it's the better Liliana. I think we did, chat. This is a good example of, like, this is when people talk about the fair matchups in Modern, these discard mirrors tend to be some of the worst magic you can find, because you can't actually make good decisions in these games because good mulliganing decisions get punished by them just putting less cards in your hand. Hey, thanks for the 3 months, Nestle. So, like, I didn't have cards that were relevant here, but I also just, like, mulliganing 4 cards that are relevant also isn't a good decision. That's the way fair matches tend to play out. We're gonna die Teamer Battle Rage here. A Braid, sure. Looking for paths and fatal pushes. I mean, Modern's littered with things like Blood Moon and discard spells. A lot of the key components to playing Modern involve making your opponent effectively not play Magic. Just like how the format works. So maybe could have had a different decision with my Thoughtseize in the first game that maybe makes us win. I don't think there was really anything I could do here. It's exceptionally bad right now, Jin. Using Reddit as like an RSS feed of sorts is fine, Bob. Just don't delve into the comments. Need to remember that normal person plus anonymity generally equates to someone who's a turd. Garshu, thank you for the quarter of a year support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. All right, so I think I take Time Raveler here. I don't even know that it's strictly the anonymity to blame though either. I feel like a big part of it is most people just aren't good people, and like they just come off as good people because they understand that society will shun them if they don't appear as good people, and then when you remove the consequences for them being terrible people, who they actually are shines through. How's Abzan been so far? Just like every Stoneforge Mystic deck we've played, aggressively mediocre. This Liliana the Last Hope's pretty good though. Not bad. .jpg. That's true. The hammer deck was great. Stoneforge was good inside of what's it called too? It was good inside of Vanasphere. Felt very reasonable there. So our last two cards are Path plus Stone plus Soul Herder. Yeah, I think so, and it's cool. Well, the key, whenever I talk about modern bannings with people, the thing that really shines through in my mind is how many people just don't understand that power level is context specific. Like, just because a card's too good in one place doesn't mean it's too good in another. Man, are we gonna outgrind Tron? Yeah, right, Jen? I feel we're probably still a few years away from that. Will it be novel or embarrassing? Those are the two options, right? The opponent's deck is effectively Tron. It's a deck with incredibly skewed matchups designed to punish fair decks and kind of stumble and be mopey against unfair decks. Yeah, there's a lot of bad decks that would be fun. Oh, I messed up, right? I should have pathed this. I was thinking that I could path whatever they targeted, but pathing still exiles it, so it would still make the Soul Herder bigger. So I've let them draw an extra card here, which ended up being a very big deal. See? I let them draw an extra card and they drew a Path to Exile. That's true. Last Hope is not nearly this good against actual Tron. Might as well gain 2 here. The opponent's deck technically has a combo of Eternal Witness, looping with Soul Herder, and casting Time Warp, but generally speaking, they're just a value mid-range deck. Some variation of cut there. I think that's smart to cut, Bob. It's really clunky and awkward. Discard spells are great here. Brutality's maybe good. Maelstrom Pulse seems fine. Kaya's Guile seems pretty bad. Last Hope was just quite absurd there. Scavenging Ooze. Scavenging Ooze impacts their Eternal Witnesses, so it's probably worth keeping around. Do I want Gideon or Batterskull? Extra Batterskull. These brutalities aren't good enough. I think I'd rather just have another Batterskull to make my Stoneforges better as the game go along. Yeah, this hand's great. Turn 1, discard spell. Turn 2, tap land, second discard spell. Hey, good morning, Inner. When you say the opponent time walks, no, I'm referring to the card Time Warp. I'm referring to taking an extra turn. No, Tron went 4-1 because Tron's great. Well, that's a hand. This is the part where they, well, that wasn't in their hand, so I guess we're thought, well, huh. Screw it. Let's just do this and get it going. We know all 4 cards in their hand right now, so I don't think there's a reason to, since we drew the untapped land, I don't think there's a reason to Thoughtseize. We're just getting Batterskull going. That's a good one. If we draw an untapped black source next turn and get Last Hope plus Thoughtseize. If they have a blue card, they can force this, but that's fine since I drew another one. Elder Deep Fiend, Tireless Tracker, and Bant Tamiyo would be 3 of my picks. There's a lot of good cards in Eldritch Moon. There's a 4-1 Tronless without New Karn. Yeah, I don't think New Karn is very good in traditional Tron. I assume we'll see them force this just to keep me out of their hand. It saves me 2 life, but my health total doesn't really matter here. Yeah, same, Bob. I think New Karn is good in Eldrazi-tron because Eldrazi-tron had a bunch of bad cards they wanted to upgrade anyways. But I think in Green-tron it's unnecessary. I also think sideboard cards are great. What do you think, Chad? Are sideboard cards good in Modern? It's not like sideboard cards decide games, right? Oh yeah, Carnival Row released on Prime today, right? Or this weekend? I just finished the Charmed reboot, so I was looking for something new to watch. Might have to queue that up. They did reboot Charmed. What's the Charmed reboot, right? Probably terrible, but I enjoyed it. I like terrible. I like terrible TV. They, as someone who's watched the original series of Charmed probably 4 or 5 times, they changed a lot of the canon surrounding the show. So fair warning if you're going into it. There are a number of distinct differences. I thought it was still fine, but there are some distinct differences. What was the reboot on? I have no idea. It's on Netflix. The last, like, 2 seasons of Charmed get a little on the original. Really sad that I bought him to Path to Exile against this opponent. Looks like Hardened Scales. Path is much better than Brutality, but I didn't know we were playing against when we mulliganed. It's not quite as dark and gritty as the Sabrina reboot was. I also enjoyed that one. Yeah, I'm happy with my decision. I'm just commenting on how it worked out for us here. Yeah, the new Sabrina wasn't a lighthearted, cheery show like the old one. Do I try and take an instant or sorcery out of their hand here? I'm probably not using a second Tireless Tracker anyways, right? This is pretty likely to miss, though. They play 4 Stirrings. It's a beatable hand. The problem here is they can just start animationing moduling their Arcbound worker and just kind of grind us out from there. They can pay 3, put a counter on this, and then make a 1/1. Do we trophy the module? Oh, that was the wrong land. I want an Overgrown Tomb, right? Yeah, maybe we do just trophy module here. Yay, discard spells. So they might attack with both of these so they can modular counters over if I block. Yeah, I think they're supposed to attack with this too. It's a pretty free roll. Path's a good draw. Kind of wish I would have kept the other Tireless Tracker at this point. So, getting the tracker established here with them flooding out means things are probably gonna... Yikes. Yikes. I guess, am I pathing this? Maybe I'm pathing this. Huh. So do I path something at end of turn here, or do I just get a tapped land? I kind of want more green mana. I guess I don't really need more green mana. You don't think I should path anything? think I'm just gonna smack them for 5 here and then play another Goyf. And like not crack a clue. Oh, I just clicked. That's unfortunate. Well, I guess we're cracking a clue. Yikes. Oh, geez. Animation module with Land War. Land War Reborn is real good. We can die from infect damage to the person who asked, but we're gonna try not to. Opponent's deck doing a really good job at showing how good it is at grinding even when it floods out. Animation module is very strong. MASH. MASH was one of my father's favorite shows when I was growing up. Oh, crack, clue, trophy module, stop the 1/1s. I mean, if I could summon a trophy to the top of my deck, sure. Instead of me telling you you're wrong, tell me why you're right. And don't give me some results-based line about the current board state. I rarely get to catch a live stream. I usually watch on YouTube. I want to say thanks for the great content. Thanks for the biddies, Quintus. If you'd like, take a peek at the deck queue. Let me know if there's something in there you'd like to see a bit sooner. I appreciate the support. Razor Rocks, thanks for cashing in that Prime again. Welcome. The Murpher Show, thank you for the 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Oh, geez. I forgot animation module can give me infect counters. Yikes. I was like, why didn't they power anything up? We are in danger. I've got a lot of Goyfs here, so maybe we can pound through, but yeah, we're definitely not in a good spot. Well, Path to Exile is a pretty good one. They've got us on a real clock here. We're dead in 2 more to this, so we definitely need to just like smash on through here. Yeah, I watched Smallville growing up. The problem is they're able to pump out so many blockers, but I guess in order to pump out maximum blockers, they need to not be animationing moduling my infect counter, so I've got that going for me. And the path means I'm less likely to oops die. I guess I should mention, to the person I timed out a second ago, you asked the same question twice, and I answered your question the first time. Also, as just a general reminder, if you're going to make a card recommendation, please make intelligent and reasonable card recommendations. Put a little thought into it. Don't just say, hey, Jeff, why aren't you playing this card? Opponent flooded pretty badly here. I made a couple of bad decisions early, though. Like, I would have had a second Tireless Tracker if I wouldn't have been so aggressive needlessly. I have only one more land than you've drawn naturally. Yeah, but my deck plays more lands. Is something to consider. They did not add an infect counter last turn because they needed to make more servos. Yeah, probably Burgle. It feels like they've gone into panic mode at this point. I like how I give the lecture modern. It's funny how, like, it's just such peak Twitch chat that we have a conversation about making good card suggestions and then someone immediately goes back and makes a lazy bad card suggestion. Just like, this is what you think I should play. This is why you think I should play it. It just never ends. Yeah, Tireless Tracker was significantly better than Dark Confidant this game. Guy Fury Ball, thank you for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. We got you. We live to please, Draken. Maybe I'm just supposed to path this in response so they don't get to make a 1/1. Ooh, that's a good one. Rude. Rude. Onboard tricks are so rude, chat. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Burgle. I think they should have tried to kill me with Infect instead of pivoting plans. Yeah, I feel like this has been kind of a good example of my opponent taking a line to lose slowly as opposed to taking a line to try and actually win the game. Hey, they're only under 4x Abyss Burgle. If I'd have kept the other Tireless Tracker, they'd be under 5. But I messed up and didn't keep the other Tireless Tracker. Yeah, I think so too, Bob. It wasn't particularly straightforward. No, they have Pendelhaven. So Liliana's not quite the Abyss here. Do I have Stony Silence in my sideboard? I'm pretty sure there's a Stony Silence in my sideboard. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. Remember that time I put Stony Silence in my sideboard? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Alright, how about if we just take all these Thoughtseizes and get them out of my deck? Alright, Fulminator Mage is like, fine, not good, but fine. How do I feel about Kaya's Guile? Kaya's Guile and Collective Brutality versus Inquisition go. What do we think about these versus these? Yeah, the cheaper spell's probably better. Why on God's green earth would I want a copy of Damping Sphere in this matchup? Please explain. Vanifear Blade felt pretty good. Putting Stoneforge Mystic in a combo deck felt great. We did manage to win the last game. Oh gosh, I totally forgot to change my border. My opponent conceded. Apparently. Apparently, my opponent conceded. Alright. Alright, on to the next one. Protection is a huge feel-bad mechanic. By the power of the Stoneforge Mystic, we shall be carried to victory. That was the third match. Heading on into number 4. As a heads up for my regulars, I'm planning to adjust my schedule a little bit between now and when rotation happens. I probably should have mulliganed the double equipment hand. Soul Herder was the other one, yeah. My schedule is going to be adjusted a little bit between now and when rotation happens at the end of September. I am planning to play 2 modern decks every morning and 2 standard decks every afternoon. And I'm planning to wrap up a little bit earlier than I've been wrapping up, about 1 o'clock. I think Scavenging Ooze is great, and I think it's absurd to cut it. I think this deck has plenty of grindy card advantage in it, and it doesn't really need more. I think I'd rather have a card like Scavenging Ooze that helps me stabilize against aggro. Yeah, everything will be up on YouTube as always. That part's not changing. All right, well, we've Thoughtseized them a bunch, but we don't have any way to interact with this Jace, so this might do us in. Opponent conceded the match after the first game. So, part of me hopes that them banning Faithless Looting means they're going to ban Ancient Stirrings and some of the other really obnoxious combo cards in this format, so they can eventually ban Thoughtseize, because I really hate this card. It generates such terrible games of Magic on average. I'm just not a fan of the play patterns it creates. I'm going to wait to play this Tireless Tracker out, so that way I can play a land immediately after to draw a card. I think Thought Erasure creates some similar feel bads, but I also think it costs 2 mana, which is a big difference. It also has more restrictive colors that it can go into. So like, if you're not familiar with Modern, Thoughtseize gets slotted into basically everything, is how it works out. Which is an important distinction. The Stoneforge Mystic draw is really bad because I don't have another equipment in my deck right now. Which is why keeping a hand with 2 equipments was a little medium. Oh god, oh god, oh no, oh no. But chat, I thought my Stoneforge Mystics were too good for Modern, chat. I thought they were supposed to be very powerful, chat. Alright. And now I've registered Squire here. Squire and I, we go way back. Squire, attend me. Please, please, Squire, I need you. I summon you, Squire. I am so happy that all of these Stoneforge decks feel like middling mid-range piles of whatever. It is so validating to just play with these cards, just be like, yep, they're just okay. They're not actually good, they're just okay. Yeah, and that's very true. This is after Looting got banned. Like, they pulled down the power level of the format, and Stoneforge still feels middling. I'm doing well, Rebner. Just as a heads up, Riviera, the content creator that you just mentioned there is incredibly toxic, and it's someone that I prefer we don't mention on my channels. Let me give you the ability to talk again. We've got a Grixis deck coming up in the queue at some point. After today, it'll actually be the top deck, so we'll get to it on Monday. Oh, there's Mox and Taxes. We'll play the Legacy deck on Monday, and then that. All right. They did in fact just him us. That is in fact what just happened. We've been him to Torhucked. I think I just want to cut a bunch of discard spells. Like have more live cards to play off the top. Seems fine. Grab Batterskull numero uno. They never expect the backup Batterskull, chat. The backup Batterskull gets them every time. Really love to draw a 2-drop or a discard spell here. So we can play a tapped land. I guess with another untapped land here, we'll just jam Last Hope and slide her back to pick the Stoneforge Mystic up. Well, Torrential Gearhulk's not really a tempo card. It's a control card, so probably a control deck. Even if Liliana Last Hope eats a removal spell here, she still drew a card, so that's great for us. If this resolves, we'll play Verdant Catacombs. If it gets countered, we'll play Shambling Vent. What am I gonna do with my Scalding Tarns? Burn's a good answer. Playing Burn with Scalding Tarn is generally very good because it sends a strong message to your opponents. It sends the message that I could play any deck in Modern, but I choose to play this one. So do I jam Soullass here or do I jam Liliana? I'm gonna jam Liliana. I have foil burn with Expedition Tarns, God bless. For what it's worth, I think Burn's a genuinely good deck. Keep doing what you're doing. Who cares what WotC thinks? Thanks for the 2 months returning, Dawn. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate you keeping me around. I plan to be here as long as y'all will have me. As long as this is justifiable to be my Yub, it will be my Yub. We snapping bolts here. Nah, nothing new, Time Lord. I had just mentioned in one of our previous streams we were like having a bad run on the ladder that like spending a lot of time and effort into like being well organized and being good at what I do, and then getting the generic snub just feels bad from an emotional perspective. It's something I generally just try not to think about, but if I'm being honest with myself and others, it does make me feel bad. Yep. So I guess we're just doing this to try and check for another K command. We're gonna see Snapcaster Mage and be sad though. And we're basically just dead here, right? I guess we can draw some stuff, but it feels like we're just gonna get ground out. I guess I can cycle this. I can fetch a basic and cycle this clearing. Nothing new happened. I'm just a human being who experiences a range of emotions. The way Wizards' indifference towards me also gives validation to people who are hateful towards me. Like, it's not uncommon to read a thread where people dislike me and hearing them cite Wizards' inability to deal with my occasionally not positive feedback as a reason that shows I'm a bad person. Alright, well, we drew a Thoughtseize here, which lets us kind of play through this a little bit, so that's sweet. So, this is fine. I think I'm just gonna Kaya's Guile, exile their graveyard, gain 4 here. Yeah, and at the end of the day, like, I've come a long way towards like understanding that and like letting it get to me a lot less. But like saying that it's something that just like doesn't impact me is definitely not the truth. So, yeah, I think the play here is gain 4, exile their graveyard. This will put me at 8, and it means their Jace doesn't flip next turn. How would it have helped here, Crockett? Instead of being vague, can you be specific? Because I don't feel like having a Sword of Fire and Ice would have helped in either of these matchups in terms of specifics. So can you be specific? Why not fire off Guile in response to the Snapcaster Mage? Because I'm an idiot. I should be +3 life. How's Stoneforge Mystic? Underwhelming. I should be 3 higher. 10 out of 10 should have done in response to the Snapcaster Mage. Iralad, thank you for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. I assume this is dying. Really? Is this not dying? I just have another Snapcaster Mage. Okay. I was really confused when they... That's fine. We still gain 4 here, right? So that's good. I mean, if this was a fire and ice, I guess I have Shambling Vent, so I wouldn't be dead. I don't know. I agree with your consensus that fire and ice is probably good against the blue-red deck. Am I dead? Not yet. They draw another Snapcaster. Morning, Ian. And we're dead. If I would have gained that extra 3 there, I think we would have been fine. Yeah, maybe. I guess I would have replayed that, and then we'd still be in a pretty bad spot because they'd have flipped the Jace. Sort of. It is worth noting that sort of fire and ice would have been good there. I agree with that assessment. So if Grixis mid-range is a matchup that you're worried about, play a sort of fire and ice, sure. Thanks, Alkalo. Yeah, and at the end of the day, the community's great, and they make this a very reasonable job for me, and I appreciate that. And I know to a degree, my content is more successful than a lot of the people that get recognition from Wizards of the Coast. So at the end of the day, I'm very fine. Just so we're above the board and clear. I'm not going anywhere. This archetype has not felt meaningfully better than just playing Green Blackrock. Not sure. What are you doing after Magic? I think that question is still just was the biggest shocker of talking to them. Just the person I was talking to at Wizards had this viewpoint that Magic was a stepping stone and not the goal. It's why would I want to play a game that's different than Magic? Magic's great. My favorite part about Stoneforge Mystic decks is the implicit mulligans to 6. Yeah, a lot of the time when you have equipment in your opener, it's a lot like a mulligan. You're not wrong. Again, it feels like Stoneforge Mystic is playing out a lot in the same way that I expected it to, in that it's playable, it's reasonably powerful. If you love Stoneforge Mystic, you can now register Stoneforge Mystic, but if you don't love Stoneforge Mystic, you're not really out by not playing it. In fact, and this probably won't come as a surprise to many, I think the thing I'm most excited to try is I'm going to squeeze some blue-red tempo in next week. To set a low bar, I think Stoneforge is better than Jace. But I also think that's an incredibly low bar to clear. What about Bloodbraid? It's probably better than Bloodbraid too. Bloodbraid's pretty clunky. Are we gonna shoot up vents again? Nah, I plan to jam this Batterskull into play. Is it? You think Stoneforge is at home alongside the card that says you can't search your library? So this lets them go get a... I really need to draw a discard spell this turn, so I can take away this Summoner's Pact. Thoughtseize, ideally, but I've already played 2 of those. There's a good chance we get dumpstered by a Titan next turn. Trophy can, like, technically take them down a land, but, like, their deck is mostly mana, so it's just gonna, the Titan's just gonna happen a turn later. I guess the Titan happening a turn later means that I'm able to get more chances to draw a discard spell for it. Does it even happen a turn later, though? I destroy this, and then if they have 2 lands, they just get to play it anyways. Do I just trophy their Titan? The problem is the Titan is going to... their Titan is going to find another Titan. I think I'm supposed to trophy this, hope they don't have 2 untapped lands, and then draw Thoughtseize next turn. I think is my best shot to win this game. This matchup tends to be pretty bad for our deck, and I don't think it got meaningfully better with the addition of Stoneforge Mystic. Even a bounce land lets them go here, because they can float a mana, bounce an untapped land, Tribe Scout the untapped land back in. So, I didn't target the Stronghold because I was killing a land that makes 2 mana. So if I killed a land that only made 1 mana, my opponent would be guaranteed to play the Titan the following turn. And the purpose of me destroying one of their lands was to try and make it so they can't Titan me this turn. Which they're unable to. They don't have a 6 mana source, so... Right, that's an Inquisition. So this means they'll Summoner's Pact in response. Which means they'll have to pay mana next turn. So this doesn't... Wow. Wow, they just let me take the Pact. Huh. Okay. I'm really surprised they didn't Pact in response there. Like, just get a Titan and say, like, wait 2 turns. That's the breathing room we kind of need here. And this is, I feel like, is a good example of playing to our outs here. Like, I talked about how we weren't going to be able to have them beat 2 lands, but our chance to win here is them bricking off, and they bricked for a turn, and we drew one of our cards that could capitalize on them bricking. I don't believe there's a sideboard guide for aristocrats on my site, no. So, now they're just hoping to draw a Titan, right? Kind of surprised they didn't explosives for 2 and clear my Goyf out there. Maybe they're hoping to draw a third land that makes colors, so that way they can, yeah, so now they can explosives my Sword of Light and Shadow. I guess if they clear the Goyf, the Sword of Light and Shadow picks it back up, so that makes sense. That makes sense. Feds, thank you for the 18 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. So, Colony Garden's their last card. They'll clear these. We'll jam Batterskull. And then again, like, if they brick for a turn or two here, we could have a shot. Are they gonna let me draw another card? They should blow this up right now. They should not give me another card. Yeah. Hey, look, chat. We drew a 1-2. Isn't that exciting? Yay! 1-2s. Yay! I mean, they're not dead on board because they have a Colony Garden in their hand, which makes a blocker. Yep. So this can find a Teleria West. It can find a Karn the Great Creator. And then Karn the Great Creator, that's an untapped land, so we're going to get Staring Bridged here. Yay, Modern! Yep. So, need to draw one of our other 3 copies of Trophy here. This is game 1. Man, Magic's really hard. It's a tough game. Low variance, etc., etc. How do they win through a bridge? They Mycos and Flatus to lock us out completely, and then eventually they can kill their own bridge and beat the board. The swings in this game has been bigger than you'll find on a Giants playground. It's been quite brutal. The swings have been large, chat. The swings have been large. I think you want 3 equipments in your 75 for the games that are going long. And if you look at a lot of my Stoneforge decks, there are 3 equipments in my 75. The thing that a lot of people seem to be forgetting while they're building these Stoneforge Mystic decks is Modern is still an incredibly brutal and fast format, he says as he dies to the Primeval Titans out of Amulet. Field of the Dead. Yep, just never winning. So, I don't think you can afford to put 4 Stoneforge Mystics and 3 slow, clunky equipments in your main deck. I think you're going to lose a lot of games to not having enough efficient interaction. How long till Standard starts? After this match. So, not long. And a lot of sideboard cards for this matchup. Welcome to Modern. Sideboarding's important here. Sideboarding's pretty clean here. Most of the cards I don't want out. Cards I do want in. Am I cutting the entire package? I don't think so, Burgle. Because I need to clock my opponent. So putting a 4/4 into play is a meaningful clock. Gideon's for other Stoneforge Mystic decks. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Yeah, unlike the combo decks that are playing the Stoneforge package for the interactive decks, Burgle, our Stoneforge is another way to put a reasonably fast clock into play. Reasonably fast. Because none of our clocks are super quick, right? I think Ashiok's great. I think Ashiok is awesome against these Titan decks, and it's some amount of graveyard hate that's reasonable because the graveyard decks have been slowed down a little bit. Like, I like the fact that Ashiok's a graveyard hate card that we can still reasonably play in non-graveyard matchups. The Standard Arena unban happens on September 4th. So we 4-1'd with Tron this morning because Tron is great. We're 2-2 down a game with this deck because green-black mid-range is mediocre and adding Stoneforge Mystic didn't really change that. Sure, I guess. Narcoma Boy, thank you for the 5 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Yeah, I agree, Burgle. I agree it's not, like, ideal, but I also think it's, like, better than the alternatives, if that makes sense. What was it lost to? Mono Red Phoenix? Or Mono Red Prowess? You'd rather be playing Modern Powerhouse Strangleroot Geist? Yeah, probably. That would probably be an upgrade in this matchup. So Damping Sphere makes all their bounce lands tap for 1 colorless instead of colors, so that's nice. We'd love to draw a green source so we can get this Tarmogoyf down and then trophy their amulet and start pounding them that way. Yeah, we probably Maelstrom Pulse the amulet actually, right? Alright. Oh ho! We're halfway there. Oh ho! Living on a prayer. Take my hand. We'll make it, I swear. The top of your deck has been exceedingly obedient. Yeah, listen, Burgle. If you call all your shots, eventually you hit some of them. I think I'd rather Pulse than Trophy, even though it makes the Goyf one smaller, because giving my opponent an extra land at this point seems less than ideal. Yeah, just let them know what's up. Give them a land and then take it away. I have the power to give, but I also have the power to take. Pretty slow clock here. They're going to get to Karn this turn, most likely. The Suva enters tapped. We just Stone Rain them? I think I'm just Stone Raining them. Any consideration for Tidehollow Sculler over Inquisition? No. I want you, when you ask that question, the best way to think about that is take these 3 cards and put them here, and then look at my curve now. That's my best way to give you a good answer to that question. Think about what my curve looks like with these 3 Inquisitions here. Did they die? I think they died, right? Because they cast Pact for some reason. Alright. Alright. Opponent made a terrible mistake while we were talking about our curve. They thought they could Pact and then play Azusa and make some land drops, but Damping Sphere prevented them from playing another spell that turn. That was a little bit of a freebie. Hopefully we can get lucky and win the second one now, or the third one now, get our 3-2. Sure. D-Sphere was just like, wub wub wub. Opponent mulligan to 6, God bless. Does this deck have better hands than this? Yeah, they start with a turn 1 discard spell. How's this league been? Honestly, I feel like this deck has not been better than just playing Black Green Rock would be. If I'm being honest. Alright, well, in the face of Double Amulet, we're definitely playing Damping Sphere. It's more expensive, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we're hoping to draw... We're hoping to draw a land in the next 2 turns. So we can go Stoneforge this turn. Perfect. So we can go Stoneforge this turn into Goyf plus Stoneforge activate next turn. Hey, look, we drew a 1-2. Hey, NPAC, thanks for the 8 months of support there. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are. Maybe crushed by EE. Yeah, right? Do I want a trophy and amulet here to get 2 more points on the Goyf? Is that meaningful? Is 2 more removal spells enough to kill them? I think I want to get 2 points on the Goyf here. How many basics? Usually 3, somewhere between 3 and 5. So they're definitely getting a land out of it. Which is a little scary. There aren't meaningful equipments. I mean, Batterskull is a heck of an equipment. Stoneforge is just a naturally slow card. Like, it's powerful and it does its thing consistently, but like paying 4 mana to get an equipment going in Modern is just a slow ask. No, I don't think GTA fixes anything. Can you explain to me how GTA makes Stoneforge better against Tron and against Amulet Titan? Like, GTA is also slow. Oh, I should have played Tracker there and just held Path up. Tracker would have been potentially a 3rd lethal threat next turn. It's a pretty big mistake on my part. Sure, so like, why even ask the question though? Like, if you don't believe what you're asking, like, why is it even worth it to bring up? Just so I can like validate you? Alright, we should have trophied in response. I get it. We should have trophied in response. That is Field of the Dead. Have another zombie. I get it. I made a boo-boo. Man. And this is just like such a good example of how, as formats get bigger, combo decks just get better and better and better. Oh, did they only have 7? No, they have 8. They have 8 differently named lands. So if I would have trophied their thing in response, they still would have gotten a thing. That's true. We do have Maelstrom Pulse as a potential out here. Would Stoneforge be as powerful? No, of course not. Why? How? Like, if we got rid of the one good thing about it, why? Like, the one thing that's close to good enough. If we took this card that's barely playable and made it worse, would it be bad? Yes. And it isn't even that, Skipdash. Like, GTA doesn't change why this card's not good in Modern. Like, on a fundamental level, it doesn't change anything. Like, the things GTA makes you good against are not the reasons why this card struggles. Is Drew another Titan? Yeah. Honestly, like I said, it's kind of validating in a way to actually play with this card and experience it being aggressively mediocre. So we played Jeskai Stoneblade based off of the tempo deck we had played previously, and I honestly am not sure Stoneforge Mystic made that deck better. And honestly, after playing that, I kind of feel like the same way I felt about like the other colors before. I'm not sure Stoneforge Mystic adds enough to this deck to be worth messing up the mana base for and making you take more damage from your mana. Like, the total power level increase here did not really seem worthwhile. Honestly, I think the thing I'm most excited to explore about, since Faithless Looting is gone, is I'm looking forward to playing this deck again, because this deck always had awful graveyard matchups. So, maybe we can play this and, like, have a reasonable shot. So, we're not going to do that today. We're going to be wrapped on Modern for today, but just to make sure that we're abundantly clear, This deck felt mediocre. Most of the Stoneforge decks we've played that weren't combo decks so far have felt mediocre. I don't think I would recommend playing this over straight green-black rock at this current point in time. Unless someone figures out something fancy that we don't know yet. All right, let's roll along to some standard. I mean, Fry is a good option because of blue, white, and other Stoneblade decks. No, I think my deck has a bunch of ways to kill Stoneforge Mystic in it. Why do I need to play Fry? Is Wurza the best right now? From my understanding, Wurza has a pretty bad Tron matchup. So I would be surprised if a deck with a bad Tron matchup could be the best deck in the format. I would expect Tron and Burn and Mono Red Prowess to be the decks to beat at this current point in time. Thanks for the 26 months, J Muscle Man. I appreciate that. That would only be true, Tumos, if MTG Finance made sense. Unfortunately, MTG Finance does not make sense. That's probably not what's going to happen. I'm pumped for Historic 2. The announcement yesterday was great. I felt like they knocked it out of the park. What they offered up is better than what I would have asked for. Oh, it's already back to 50 to 60. Sure, sweet. People dug them out and started listing them. God bless. Yeah, they're 3 in a row now on announcements that they made that were big announcements where I wasn't like, oh, that's stupid. Leaves, thanks for the half a year. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Even with double wild cards to get cards. Yep, guess what? If double wild cards to get into Historic is a deterrent for you personally, that's fine. That means Historic's not intended for you. Not every format of Magic is intended for every player. That's just the long and short of it. Standard is going to be the format that's friendly to free-to-play players, and that's just going to be the case. And honestly, I'm not even sure if that's strictly true, because, like, if Historic has real support, free-to-playing and saving up for a Historic deck means your deck's legal for forever. So, like, you know, if, like we've talked about, I'm probably going to be repeating this a lot. If Historic decks cost the same amount of money as Standard decks, and the formats have similar amounts of support, almost no one is going to choose to play Standard. There's a reason why Modern costs 3 times as much money as Standard does on average, and it's more popular than Standard in paper by most metrics. There's a reason why that is, because people can buy into a deck and sit on it and play that deck for forever. And the same thing will be true on Arena. There will be people who have no interest in playing Standard who will buy 1 or 2 decks in Historic at a premium price, but then they'll never put money in again. They'll buy new small upgrades with the currency that they generate from just playing, and that's how it'll go.